It's time to talk about my most anticipated film of the year, and that is Deadpool and Wolverine. I've been excited for this movie since I think late 2022 when Ryan Reynolds announced that he was doing Deadpool 3 with the inclusion of Hugh Jackman returning as Wolverine. I was giddy like a schoolgirl when I watched that video. Afterwards, I was a little skeptical because I recognized that Logan just had such a great ending to that character, and I was often wondering what pondered Hugh Jackman to come back for this role when that role in itself just had a great conclusion back in 2017. So I was a little weary, but nevertheless, I was so excited to watch this film, especially when last year we saw a glimpse of Hugh Jackman in that classic yellow costume. I knew after that we were going into some comic book territory, so let's talk about it. As I stated before, I was weary about this movie, even though I was so excited for it, not just because of Wolverine's return, but because I was scared as to how Disney's gain of Fox would affect the Deadpool IP. Deadpool has been always known to be just an R-rated character and just so self-aware of the content that he brings. But I was kind of scared as to what Disney's involvement would do to the character, what they would prevent from happening, what they would tone down. There was even speculation when this movie was being filmed that there was going to be a lack of improv, meaning that all of the dialogue that we hear in the movie is coming strictly from the script, and there's not going to be any improvisation from Ryan Reynolds or wisecracking on set. And after watching the movie, I'm not entirely sure if that was even true or not, because there's a lot in this movie that just feels so in time, because there are so many jokes in here that just seem so just put in and inserted due to convenience. There's one joke in particular where Ryan Reynolds is referencing Hugh Jackman's recent divorce in 2023, and it happened around the time of them filming a particular scene outside. I guess what I'm trying to get at is, if that is true, that a majority of the jokes came from the script, this is a pretty solid and self-aware script. I absolutely love this film and what it does for each character. This is Disney's first R-rated film, and it really shows. There are sexual jokes, STD jokes, there are characters that we've known from past films that are cursing, and it just feels like they went out and about to make an R-rated film. It still feels like the recent Deadpool films with just a sprinkle of Marvel all around, and I absolutely loved it. And don't worry, I'm gonna talk about how I generally feel about the movie at first, and then I'll talk about spoilers later on, but I will warn you guys. I wanted to make sure that everybody saw this film before watching this video, so that's why I'm releasing it after the weekend. So don't worry, I will warn you when I get into spoilers. I don't know why it's taken such a long time for Wolverine to be featured in the Deadpool film. I really don't. Because it's just pretty obvious that, like, just putting Deadpool and Wolverine to the side, that like Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman have really great chemistry. They've been making videos since like 2019, I believe, like just representing their own brands, and they're really back and forth with each other. Their banter is really showcased in those earlier videos, and it transitions into this movie very perfectly. Their banter and their chemistry together is just so fucking amazing. I absolutely loved seeing Deadpool interact with Wolverine in this film. They play off each other so well, with Deadpool being such a comedic character and Wolverine being a no shit taking character, that it really works well within a scene that takes place in a car where Wolverine is just hamming in on Deadpool. He's been like with him for at least a good 40 minutes to an hour. And then after these interactions, he just finally has had enough of his shit. And it really showcases within this scene, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about when you see the movie. Like I said, I don't know why Hollywood never took advantage of these two characters in the first place, because it is super clear that these actors work so well together, and it's just in the comics. Deadpool goes hand in hand with Wolverine. I wish that they would acknowledge that with Venom and Spider-Man. Like, it's just kind of weird that we haven't necessarily gotten a Venom movie yet with the Spider-Man character in it. Regardless though, I'm happy that we finally have a movie with Deadpool sharing the screen with Wolverine, and by God, this costume is excellent in the film. I absolutely love seeing him in the costume, and I love what they did in terms of why he has the costume. It still maintains the character that we've seen in the earlier films, where he doesn't even like wearing the black leather costumes. So why in the hell would he wear a yellow costume within this film? And I think it's explained very well in terms of this version of Wolverine's character. This has just been something I've been waiting for 24 years, and I cannot believe it took this long to get it. We almost got it in The Wolverine with the brown and yellow costume, but that was a deleted scene because they were like, oh, I don't know if I want to commit to that or not, but we finally got it in this film, and it looks spectacular. Overall, this movie is a love letter to the X-Men films and the Fox movies. It's clear that Ryan Reynolds really loves this character, and since the first Deadpool film, he's been really wanting to bring a faithful adaptation to this character since X-Men Origins Wolverine and the disgustingly god-awful Deadpool in that film. And you can tell that this is an actor who recognizes who the character is and what's needed to progress the character even further. We've seen that with Deadpool 2 when Cable was in the film, and we see that here now where it's like, okay, why not just put Wolverine in the film? And of course, we can't talk about this film without talking about the multiverse aspect. So yeah, I'm going to talk about spoilers now because I feel like that's such a huge highlight of this film is the surprises that are in it. So if you haven't seen Deadpool Wolverine yet, I strongly recommend you see this film. Absolutely loved it. I think it really stands good as an MCU film and just a movie within itself. I think it's just a really well-developed movie, and it progresses the Deadpool character further with the inclusion of Hugh Jackman playing Wolverine again, just a little sprinkle on top. So yeah, let's talk about the spoilers that I wanted to discuss in this film. Okay, so that first scene where Deadpool is digging up Logan's grave is such a perfect way to start this movie because it's just such a disrespectful and distasteful thing to do that it just fits within the Deadpool brand. And when the TVA comes and he's using Wolverine's adamantium bone to kill these TVA agents, I just thought it was just such a perfect way to start this movie. I loved seeing Deadpool interact with the TVA in this kind of meta aspect of like, hey, Wolverine died in Logan, so the franchise has not been doing too well since like 2017. So we're gonna go ahead and cancel your universe, the Fox universe. And Deadpool's like, no, I can find a new Wolverine. We'll figure that out. And he's going through all the different universes to find a new Wolverine. And I absolutely loved how they included, number one, a comic book accurate Wolverine who is short. That was fucking hilarious. And number two, I absolutely love seeing Henry Cavill as this character. I'm really looking forward to Superman in 2025, but I think DC did this man dirty. So anytime when he's getting any type of love, I saw him in Argyle earlier this year. I pray that this man like gets better work or better recognition because he is a gem. And seeing him in this movie was just such a nice touch, and it showcases that Marvel is so self-aware of their fans and what they want. Even if he doesn't return as Wolverine in the MCU, I'm glad that this was like a little nudge like, hey, we're listening. There was a lot of speculation that after that last trailer with Deadpool and Wolverine that they might have been releasing way too many spoilers. There was the showcase of Ladypool in the trailer, and there was the showcase of X-23. A lot of people were really upset about that, and Kevin Feige actually came out and said like, hey, we really wanted that actress of X-23 to be at the premiere, so we included her in the trailer, and marketing felt as though that it really added an emotional aspect to the trailer to yearn people to come and see the movie. Dude, we already wanted to see the movie. Like, we were gonna go see it regardless. You did not need to add that at all. Although, I do feel as though that final trailer released a lot of stuff. This movie is packed with a lot of things that those trailers did not showcase. I think the movie really shines when it transitions into The Void, where it all of a sudden becomes this buddy team-up adventure road trip film where Deadpool is riding with Wolverine and they're trying to figure out how to get back home to save Deadpool's universe. It was really cool seeing past X-Men characters from the early 2000s in this film after 24 years. We saw Sabretooth, we saw Lady Deathstroke. It was just really cool just recognizing that these characters are still being referenced in 2024, and that just brought up the giddy boy inside of me. And holy shit, Chris Evans as Johnny Storm is in this film. That was the shit. That was the absolute shit, hearing him say flame on. It was almost as if Deadpool and Wolverine saw Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which I really like the cameos in that, but they just kind of entered in the movie and they left, and it really does feel like these characters, like in Spider-Man No Way Home, who enter in this film, are in there for a good amount of time, and they're pretty integral to the plot for the most part. I was excited to see Elektra, even though it was already announced that Elektra was going to be in the film, so I was like, okay, this is still good. I like seeing Elektra. And then I lost my fucking mind when Blade, Wesley Snipes' Blade, came out of nowhere. I was like, holy shit, this is fucking cool. This is amazing. It is so funny that they got Wesley Snipes to return as Blade in Deadpool and Wolverine, because he worked with Ryan Reynolds in Blade Trinity, and apparently they had like a falling out. Like apparently they just did not get along. He did not like working with Ryan Reynolds in that movie, and it's just humorous and just ironic that Wesley Snipes is coming back as Blade, and they can't even make a Blade movie with Mahershala Ali. This movie's been in development hell for so many years that it's just hilarious. And hearing him say, "I'm the one and only Blade," or whatever, like I'm the only Blade, is just fucking hard as fuck. Like, I absolutely loved it. And then, as just like a little bonus, we've never seen this character before in any Fox films. That's why it's humorous. But we finally see Channing Tatum get to play Gambit in an X-Men film. He's been trying to push this character to be in X-Men movies for such a long time, and for whatever reason, Fox just never utilized Channing Tatum, which is really stupid on their part, because Channing Tatum is obviously like a well-known actor, so you would have had a certain demographic come to see these movies if you showcased Channing Tatum playing a well-known X-Men character. And the fact that he was finally able to play this character in this film is just so heartwarming. And it's funny when the other characters are stating like, oh, like I was transferred to the Void at this one point, and Gambit is like, I think I was just born here, because he never had his own involvement in like any of the Fox Marvel films. So that was funny as f***. And of course, it was great seeing X-23, but like I said, I think it would have been more impactful if she wasn't included in that last trailer. But I love her putting on those shades and everything. It was great. I loved it. I will say that the fight scene that happens with these characters, when the characters are going to visit Charles Xavier's sister Nova, the villain of the movie, when these characters come together as a team, I feel as though that fight scene in general, I thought was kind of shaky. It was great seeing them utilize their powers and just seeing Blade fucking kill Toad in this fight scene, and Gambit using his cards to make people explode. That stuff was great. I loved it. It was just comic book energy throughout. I just felt that scene in general was just incredibly shaky for the most part. The scene that follows that, though, when Deadpool and Wolverine are back in Deadpool's universe and they're fighting on the street, the Deadpool Corps. We get a lot of cameos of actors and actresses portraying variants of Deadpool. We get Blake Lively playing Lady Deadpool. That's cool. I thought it was going to be Taylor Swift at first, but I like that because Ryan Reynolds is obviously married to Blake Lively. They even had their kid play Kidpool, so that was really nice. It just kind of felt like Ryan Reynolds' family coming together and celebrating his career as this character. They even got Matthew McConaughey to play a cowboy Deadpool. That was pretty neat. I thought I heard his voice while watching this film. And I loved Dogpool in this film. Dogpool was great. He was ugly as but Dogpool was great. And just seeing Deadpool and Wolverine walk out into the street in slow motion, and then Hugh Jackman pulling down that cowl, it was just such an orgasmic comic book fan moment. I was speculating how the mask would transition into the film. There's been a lot of talk in recent years about how like superhero masks digitize, like they just kind of like form around the subject, like they're nanobites or whatever. I'm really glad that it was just a cowl. It was one of the most badass things I'd seen in this movie. It was amazing. And the movie has a pretty decent ending. It brings a nice happy ending to this version of Wolverine without tampering with the death of Wolverine in Logan. It's just a variant of the character, and I liked how they didn't tamper with that at all. They recognized that this was a different Wolverine, and he got a nice ending. He has a family that he's hanging out with. He's even hanging out with his daughter, X-23, so I thought that was nice. I thought it was a little nice touch of the end of the movie. So let's answer the question that's in the title of this video. Did Deadpool and Wolverine save the MCU? I don't know. I think it's a good start. I really think it's a good start, because this is focused on being just a good movie with some really good Marvel Easter eggs sprinkled on top. This is really a love letter to anybody who has been following the Marvel movies since the early 2000s, especially the Fox films. There's references to the X-Men, there's references to Fantastic Four. Seeing the behind the scenes clips playing next to the credits really showcases how far we've come along. And I don't resent those films at all. If anything, it really showcased how much of a awesome childhood I had. I remember back in 2003 in particular, this is when X2 was coming out. I got a lot of X-Men merchandise as a kid. I think I was like 8 years old. I got an X-Men video game. I got some X-Men action figures. I got the Wolverine claws. That was a badass birthday. Some fans look back at those films and think that they're not the greatest thing in the world, especially when they're comparing the costumes to costumes that we have now in the MCU. But like I said, I look back at those as cherished memories. This film recognizes the importance of those films and how Marvel was able to build a fandom from those first films, and then it led to inevitably Iron Man in the MCU. I'm just happy that we had something around that time before Iron Man came out, and those films were responsible for me getting into comic books, and this film, Deadpool and Wolverine, is a testament to that. Like I said, I think Marvel is on a really good path after this film. I think they're recognizing things that they're not necessarily doing right, and they just need to appease the fans. I'm not saying that they need to rely heavily on the multiverse. I'm just saying that they need to make better films with stories that really have a lot of weight and that are integral to the characters. I am very curious about Captain America: Brave New World. I think that trailer, for whatever reason, I think that just looks really, really appealing. It looks like a political thriller. It looks very equivalent to that of Captain America: The Winter Soldier. I enjoyed seeing that trailer when I saw this movie, so I'm looking forward to that. I think that film is going to be a really good, okay, are we progressing now as Marvel films? Are we getting better? I think Captain America: Brave New World is going to be a really good testament to that. I think this movie is just a really good movie overall, and I think a lot of Marvel films moving forward need to take a look at what they need to do in order to progress these franchises. So you guys, that was my review of Deadpool and Wolverine. Absolutely loved this film. Comment down below what you thought of the film if you've seen it yet. Like this video, share it, and please subscribe to my channel. Also, I'm really sorry that I haven't been making videos in a while, guys. I'm actually in the process of moving. I'm gonna be moving mid-August. I'm really excited about it. I'm gonna be redoing my set and everything in a new room. So I've just been really focused on that, and I just haven't really been able to do videos in a while because of that. And I've also got a 9-to-5 job that I do videos for. So sometimes when I come home, I'm just really burnt out from editing and such. But I knew I really, really wanted to talk about this film. But once the move happens in mid-August, there's a number of videos that I'm just really excited to make. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a really good move. And yeah, I just want to say thank you to everybody who has stuck around and has been looking at my stuff and subscribing. It really means a lot. I'm really, really excited for the future, for sure, especially what's happening in 2025. I'm not going to go into detail as to what I want to do yet, but just look forward to a lot of videos in 2025. I'm so excited. Thank you guys so much. Let me know what you thought of Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm Corbin Stuckey, and thank you for watching.